This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, it is 4:30. So we'll start the meeting of the General Services Committee. Today is April the 26th. And so can we have a roll call, please?
Chairman Oropesa,
Here.
Vice Chair Moore, Counselor Halverson. Here. Counselor Sanchez.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, can you double check and see if we have Miss Counselor Moore on virtual?
Counselor Moore, are you online?
Doesn't appear to.
No.
To be. Okay, well, we got a quorum anyway. Welcome, everybody. And if I can remind you to please sign the sign-in sheet so we can have a record of who attended. And so with that, I'll call the meeting to order and I will ask, well, we already got the roll call. I'm sorry, I'm doing it backwards. I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda. And if you want to, you can include the minutes as well in the same motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda for today's meeting for April 26th and as well as the minutes for the March 22nd meeting.
We have a motion for approval of the agenda and approval of the minutes. Do we have a second? Councilor Sanchez. There's only one thing, and it's not on the minutes. I just want to make sure that we have the minutes indicate that they're the guest, Bruce Adler, and then we have Grant Sanchez, which should be Grace.
We can correct that.
Yeah, so it's just a correction, not a major thing.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go to action item number 2. Consider resolution 23XX, a resolution to set fees charged at the Oswald Convention Center. And I understand Mike is going to address this one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Ask you to consider resolution 23XX to set the fees charged at the Roswell Convention Center. I've included in your packet a list of existing fees that are currently being charged at the convention center. As you can see, that list is very extensive and very inclusive as far as charging for, I think we've included everything in there that we could think of that we could possibly use. It's become very confusing. I've also included a list of what we propose. So, I want to defend our staff and the employees of the convention center have done a phenomenal job. However, when this was, in my opinion, this is my opinion, when it was set up, I don't think our staff was set up to succeed. I don't think we had enough employees over there. We definitely did not have enough kitchen help. So over the last 6 months that I was acting as the interim city manager, I received several complaints. I visited with many of the organizations and talked to many people about the convention center. Talked to staff. We've come up with this idea. We would like to try it to lower the fees of the convention center, get out the kitchen business where if you want to hold an event over there, you find your caterer that you want to cater your event, you work that deal with them. We're going to provide a facility, very high level, and run it like that. Your caterer come in, cater your meals. If you got a problem with your meal, that's between you and your caterer, not us. If the facility is dirty, then that's our problem. If we didn't provide a good sound system or something, then that's the issue on us. We can handle those things. So we would like to try this. Over the last couple months, I have received 5 phone calls from organizations that are willing to bring their, I won't call them conventions because they're more specific to groups, the state emergency managers, the state fire marshal's office, the state community development part. I received a phone call a month ago from Santa Fe, from the state environmental department, wanting to host their waste management conference here this fall. And altogether, those 5 different groups total over 300 people that will be here in our community for all 5 of those events for a week. So they're eating in our restaurants for a week, they're staying in our motels, and that's what's paying for this facility. I haven't personally spoken to some of the previous event organizers that held events in the past, but some of our staff has. They're very interested. I think we've seen multiple phone calls, and I won't speak for them, I can jump in, that different groups wishing to come back. What I'm telling you, we're not going to make money on this deal. But what we're going to do is try to provide a facility in our community for people to hold their events at a reasonable rate and try to provide them a very safe, clean facility for their events. And income's going to be coming into restaurants because we won't be doing the catering anymore. The restaurants will be doing the catering. So as I see it, it's a win-win for the entire community. So I would like, and I've heard a lot of discussions on this item and the next item that we'll be discussing. And since before and since the election, I would just like to put it back on the table and have a discussion so our staff, our employees, and we as management know how to proceed from here. Because if we're going to keep it on as the way it is, we have additional staff that we're going to need to provide. These guys, Mrs. Jennings, I know she worked multiple weekends at different events because we just cannot find people to work on a temporary. It's very hard to have a facility that you really have big things on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and finding those temporary employees that just want to work on a Friday night and a Saturday night. People's looking for full-time jobs. So we're willing to answer any questions. I encourage you to look at, if you have any questions on the fee structure, that we tried to make it very simple. You rent a room, it's this much. That room also includes a sound system, a podium if you need it, microphones, tables and chairs. If you're going to have a banquet, and you have a food vendor coming in, we're going to charge you per person, 50 cents per person. That's going to include your napkins, your silverware, your dishes, and things like that. So we tried to make it as simple as possible for our employees that are scheduling these events. Did we miss something? I'm sure we did. I'm not an event organizer or a convention center host, but I think it's a step. We would like to try that. We would like your support, and we're here to answer any questions and answer the hard questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Does committee members have any questions, any comments that they would like to?
Yeah, I think this is great. It's a great step forward to help, the events in the community. And I appreciate all the work all of you have done on this because.
Zach and Nate back here have been phenomenal to work with and help in trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. What are some complaints we've heard of staff inside the building that maybe if we wasn't worrying about trying to set up for meals and stuff, that we could address other issues facility-wide with bathroom issues or whatever. So,
Because like you, I heard complaints throughout this from all the citizens and the businesses that are the local restaurants. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. Thank you all for doing that.
Anybody else have any questions? The committee members, and I don't think Mrs. Moore is on the line, so before I open it up to the public. If not, does anybody in attendance have any questions other than Rita?
Mike, is the convention center going to handle the liquor, or is that going to be?
that's a good question. Thank you. In visiting with staff, we'll give the people renting the facility the option. If it's under 200 people, we feel like we can handle a 200 or less person with a liquor license. Anything over that, we don't want to, they'll contract with and they'll get a picnic license from Peppers or some other facility.
Is there going to be an option? If it's under 200, it's an option that they
Absolutely
go either way.
Yeah, it's an option. So if they wanted to get Peppers, I brought in several of I call them the big 5 caterers in town. I just name them that. They're not the only ones, but I brought 5 of the restaurant owners in. They're really not interested in doing a liquor license under 200 because it's a lot of work for them to get the picnic license, move all their materials over there, set it up. So they would really rather handle the events over 200. But they would if their person hiring them really insisted on them doing it, they would do that. And we have no problem with that. That's just one less thing we have to do. We will handle that. We will continue. I think it's been very successful. Everybody's idea was maybe one of these, I don't know, but our little concession stand on wheels that we have to sell popcorn, Cokes, peanuts, candy. We've had it at council meetings
Right.
on occasion. We'll have those for all the events that if they're there just for a meeting, we can pull that out. And on their breaks, they can buy Cokes, candies, popcorn, whatever, but just not in the food service business.
Anything else, Frida?
No, I'm done for now.
Anybody else? Anybody that is attending the meeting virtually, do anybody have any questions? It doesn't appear like it, so
Okay,
I guess we're ready for a motion if we want.
it's not on consent. We go on consent?
It won't stay on consent.
It won't, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think it'll.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we consider Resolution 23XX, a resolution to set fees charged at the Roswell Convention Center to go to full council.
We have a second. Aye. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is item number 3, consider resolution 23XX repealing resolution 1983 and resolution 2072. And I guess, again, Mike.
That's me again, Councilor. Thank you again. As you stated, this is a resolution repealing Resolution 1983 and Resolution 2072, which currently sets the cost recovery for the zoo. And Exhibit A establishes the fee for the zoo. So as we've been going through this budget process and really looking at the numbers and the financial situation that we're in currently, we have added additional personnel when this resolution was passed and the cost recovery. And I think once again, we put our staff in a situation that they weren't going to be successful at a 70-30 recovery cost. It just wasn't going to happen. I didn't bring it in with me. It's on my desk. Janie did send me some information yesterday. I think up to date, we're about 7.2% recovery for the zoo for the year, about $64,000 collected. I think we're budgeting for next year where we're moving forward as though this is still in place. Budgeting estimate of about 104,000 in revenue for next year. We've added over $300,000 in cost and personnel cost to make that 64,000 up to date, 104 if we get it next year. So in my estimation, the finance director's estimation, we're spending $200,000, $300,000 to make $100,000. I personally, this is me personally, I don't like that. I don't think it's fair for our employees to be put underneath that pressure and have to answer to that. And a lot of complaints have come through from the time that was passed, as you well know, up to this date of people complaining about charging at the zoo. Not everybody can afford to go to the zoo, especially a large family on a fixed income. If there's 6 people in the family, you know, at $5 a piece, it's very difficult for some families to go to the zoo. I grew up in that zoo, as most everybody in this room did, and I personally would like to see us go back to a free zoo. That's my personal opinion. From a professional standpoint, I cannot stand before you and say it's okay to lose $200,000 a year and charge people to go to it. I would rather open it back up, let the community utilize that resource, enjoy that resource, and use that money into enhancing the zoo that we currently have. We have some big needs at the zoo right now. We have a train track that needs to be repaired or replaced. We have repairs that need to be made to the carousel. We have repairs that need to be made to the fences. We toured it a couple weeks ago, thanks to John, Juanita took us around the zoo for a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. And there's a lot of love that needs to be given to the zoo. So I would rather see that money go to that than to, in my opinion, my estimation, be wasted. So I'm here to answer any questions. It's a pretty simple request, is to repeal those 2 ordinances. That's the council's decision, and we're willing to go forward in whatever direction you want us to go. But I know there's been a lot of conversation, and we want to be able to tell our staff, we want to set some clear directions. And it's really hard to do when everybody's fractured and with different things. We want the current governing body to give us a direction to go for.
Thank you, Mike. Any committee members?
Well, initially I thought it was fine to charge for the zoo, only because you have to get money in to feed the animals and everything. But then we got the report that we're actually losing money by paying someone to sit there than what we're bringing in. To me, it didn't make any sense. Not only that, the poor person that sits at that table outside must be a mailman or something, because they're out there, rain, sleet, snow, heat, I mean, no matter what. And I feel so bad for them because they're out there without any shade half the time. You know, when it's hot, they do it, but it's just, when it's windy, they're out there. It's just miserable for that person. And so I think this is a good idea to make it free again, because we're losing money.
Any committee members? I'll put my 2 cents in. Because I've never been a proponent of fees at the zoo. You know, and I think we did a disservice to the staff when we implemented the 70/30 recovery program. And I don't know what the evaluations look like, or even if we have an evaluation system in place or not, but to be evaluated on a 70/30 recovery process, when it's unreasonable that you will never get there, is not a good thing for the person that's being evaluated. Because from the very start, it almost seemed like it was not going to work. And so to put a item on your evaluation that you have to come up with 70% of the revenue that the city pays, it's just not reasonable. And so I think it's a good thing that we're addressing this, because then the directors of, whether it be the zoo or the museum or whatever, and I know we're not talking about the museum here, but at least the director of the zoo can go about his job and do his job, not worrying about whether he will be able to achieve the 70%. And so, you know, and not worry about having a bad evaluation and perhaps losing their jobs. The city finance will determine a budget based on the amount of money that comes in, that we, you know, the way the budget is determined. And they will be given a set amount of money to work with. And, you know, it's up to that director to be able to do the job that is being asked of him without having the expectation of achieving 70%. And so I am glad that this is, we're having this item on the agenda. Not that it will pass the full council, but at least we can have the conversation at full council. Anybody in attendance? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to have the opportunity to speak on this. I'm here to serve. I'm here to manage the facility as you guys deem necessary. I have not been given the information about the 300,000, but I will remind you that 5 of those keepers are part of that $300,000. The extra added staff for the guest services, if I remember right, before we charged, we had guest service people in those positions already. So having to actually sit there and say, are we making enough to cover our guest services? I would need to have those numbers to present them to you as well. We have one of the most free generous programs in the country that I've told you as well, 13 free days for every person. We ran some numbers in the past as well. We realized that our visitation is about 50% non-Roswellian residents. So we do have a tourism draw that brings in that tax money and the other things that we're talking about, the convention center, bring those in. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of the information and what the staff, the animal care staff actually has to do in their day. And having them perform duties outside of the animal care can also stress them out. We also have our own duties that we perform as well. So making sure that the staff and the grounds are well taken care of. So when we're looking at those dollar figures for staffing, realize that we do a whole bunch of other stuff in that aspect as well. And those are costs that will somehow come out somewhere. Someone's got to mow, someone's got to be able to react if there's an emergency and take care of our guests as well. The decision is yours. I've said it before. I will manage the zoo. We have improved our animal welfare because of the increase in animal care staff we've had. But we also know the complaints come with expectations. People do expect to be greeted. They do expect to see the grounds taken care of. And that's the things that we're working on if we're funded appropriately. That's your guys' as well. So I'll stand for questions if you have any, but that's my thoughts.
Well, I'd like to point out too, that staff person that's sitting at the desk waiting for people to come in, they could be doing other stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
They actually do. So they don't just sit there. They will clean the parking lot, pull weeds, they do maintenance jobs as far as painting stuff. They take the zip codes, they are looking them up as they do, but they also run the concessions stand, the train, the carousel when it's running. They do tours, they do educational programs, they run the parties. So it's a lot more than just sitting there.
Yeah, well, I have nothing against them. They've always been so pleasant and nice every time I go. Yeah.
And I agree with you, sitting outside, it is rough with the wind and everything, and we have to adjust to that. We're still in the process of.
Yeah.
It's, right now, we're in the engineer phase, and we hit bumps and roads and roadblocks with everything to stop moving forward on that, and you know, we're trying to get past it and get it done. So right now, like I said, we're in the engineer phase. Once that building is done, they will be inside and it will be dedicated admissions if we still have fees in the shop, and also serve as a kind of the concessions in there as well. So.
Thank you.
And I'll just leave it at this. Since we've been charging from 21 to 22, we saw a 20%, 26% increase. This year, where we stand right now, we're at a 9% increase. So although the business model is 70-30, or that whole bit is very challenging. I do appreciate you understanding the challenges they're facing. But from a business model, anybody's doing 20 to 10% increase every year in attendance is the deal. We also talked about our attendance in the past, how they collected attendance was inaccurate of just estimating. They are also including people at the pond and in the park in their calculations as well. So we see a trend where it's improving our attendance. But yes, once again, it's your call. We will manage, but our attendance is showing, if you will, 50% are non-taxpayers as well.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just add, and
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate this, it's nothing against our staff.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the staff or the jobs that they've been doing.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's a quality of life issue. I've heard the complaints, I've talked to citizens, it's a quality of life issue. It's a quality for our guests that visit our community, that it gives them one more opportunity of a thing to do. Yeah, currently they pay, but how many of them may come if they don't have to pay? Our job, or I think our mission would be to keep a lot of people in the zoo enjoying it. I know back pre-COVID, before we started this, people would go and you see people having lunches in the park side. What we did, we divided it, so you can still go have lunch on the park side, but if you got through eating your sandwich and wanted to just make one quick loop through the zoo for exercise more than anything, now that's not an option for you. So people don't even go to the park anymore. They go to the Wool Bowl. They eat their lunch, know, because I go by there, they eat their lunch and they'll get out and they'll walk around the parking lot at the Wolf Bowl. We took that away from some people in the community that used it. All I'm asking is to consider for clarity for us and our staff that we have a clear direction what we want our zoo to be, and then we'll take it from there and make it the very best that we can make it. I've told our senior staff multiple times, we may not have a lot in some of our departments, but whatever we do have, let's make it really, really good and at the highest level we can make it. It can be the cleanest facility, it can be the nicest people, the most helpful people, friendly people, and have people enjoy their visits to any one of our facilities, whether it be code enforcement, recreation center, the zoo, or city hall.
Thank you.
You know, and I want to make sure that everybody understands, I had nothing against staff. Never did. My thing was that by charging fees, we were prohibiting some, especially the kids, to be allowed to be able to go in and use the zoo and the park and what have you. You know, when I was involved with softball, and Councilor Sanchez can probably attest to it, when we had tournaments coming down to Roswell, because the zoo and the park is so close to the Wolf Bowl. You know, if you played like, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, you didn't have a game till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was a free zoo, you know, the free park. You see a lot of people going down there just relaxing, having the kids go and watch the animals and whatever. I would venture to say that now that you may have one team or maybe two teams that will take them to the zoo and do that. But because it was free, it was a good time to go out there and just relax and be able to get ready for the next game that was coming up. And so, again, I want to make sure that staff understands that this has nothing to do with staff. Because I do appreciate everything that staff has done and continues to do out there.
Sure, I'll make one more point, and Caroline can correct me if I'm wrong. When this was passed, the difference between the zoo and the museum, I don't believe we had to add additional staff to collect money or anything at the front door, am I right?
That's correct.
So that you've done that with your current staff. So same thing, but two different
Yeah, it's a
operations.
difference. Yeah.
But if I could just add a comment too, just to concur with everything that's been said, but even though we were free before, it was still super important to have people at the front to greet visitors. Not only to just create a welcoming experience, but also to go over rules. And so even if the zoo becomes free, I still, in my opinion, still think it's important to have a presence in the zoo at the front to greet people and just to, again, create that welcoming experience, make sure that everyone's kind of following the rules of the place.
Thank you for bringing that up, because if an animal gets out, we have to have someone to help with the guest, and the keepers are taking care of that. So it minimizes our emergency response time too, which could also be a USDA issue as well. And just like with her, before we started charging fees, we did have guest services, selling merchandise and the rides and things like that. So it's just finding out the right resources with staffing to perform the greeters and the welcoming and the hospitality with also the animal care, just finding the blend. Where the money comes from, there you go.
It's up to Mr. Corn. And Shad. I'm sorry?
Carrie has.
Okay.
All right, Friends of Spring River Zoo. So we have never been in agreement with the 70-30 split. We knew that was unreasonable for them to be able to obtain that, even with our help, to be able to help raise funds for that. Our biggest concern is going forward with the zoo. The money has to be there to be able to update, make it current, make it, legal is not the word, but make it appropriate for the animals that are there. I mean, not only the train, the carousel, the pond is an issue. The birds of prey are all going to have all of their enclosures changed. So whereas you set a budget of $800,000, it has to be more than just an operating budget. There has to be money in there to bring those enclosures up to date, so that way we can keep the zoo going. We can't keep removing the animals because we don't have the money to build the enclosures that we need. If that makes any sense. Professional standards. Okay, so there's those words. I don't have those words. They didn't bring in that much money at the gate, and we know that. But, you know, that 60,000 that they brought in that year, that could have built part of an enclosure. I mean, we're looking at right now about $10,000 on one of the birds of prey. That could have covered that. So I see all sides of it. What I would like to see is, you know, set a budget, this is what you have. But if you charge, say, out-of-town guests who don't pay taxes to be part of it, X amount, that money then goes to specific enclosures to this. It ties up with the money that we raise to help build those enclosures. Because the community has to buy into this as well. I don't know how to explain it, that if you give everything for free, there's no value in it. Nobody appreciates it. It's always going to be there. And that's kind of where the zoo has been. It's always there. It's always going to be there. Oh, we can go. We don't have to go. Well, it looks like crap. I don't want to pay. Well, it looks like crap because we don't pay. We have to invest in it. And that's our biggest thing, is if we don't get investment back into it, it does nobody any good to have it free or paid. Because we've got to move forward with it one way or another.
I respectfully disagree with you on one of the comments that you made, that if it's free, it's probably not worthwhile or something to that effect that you said. I would argue that if you talk to the kids on the east side, south side, that they appreciate the fact that they can go and go to the zoo free of charge. Not everybody is able to pay the fees. So as long as they can make use of the resource that the city can provide, I think there's a lot of people that will appreciate it if it's free.
Mr. Chair.
Let me go with Jim.
I just want to add something real quick. You talk about outside people coming in, they travel through, they go one time. When it was free, you had people going multiple times, constantly buying snow cones, riding the train. Now you have merchandise to sell. They didn't have that much in the past. So guest services and creating types of revenue, you may not see a huge loss because we're not doing outside, just people from outside of town, because there's constantly people going through it, and we put donation tubes in and we were doing different things. You have new enclosures, you have very positive staff, and that's something to consider. You know, we're based in 7030 and having people inside of town, outside of town, and you know, visitors do come through and we want them to stay in the motels and stay another night, and
right.
We want to keep people here. However, do understand that the local people constantly went to the zoo, constantly rode the train, ate snow cones and a hot dog or whatever, and had parties, and you know, you have a room there you can rent, and a beautiful, beautiful park. So there's also things you can do in that manner. So that's also a positive of this whole outcome.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairperson, when I was president of the Friends of the Zoo, we didn't have those problems. I believe Parks was in charge of the zoo, and we didn't have any of the problems that they're maybe having now. We had people on the board who were there every other day, or I know I was there at least 1-2 days a week, talking to the people, getting them acclimated to the zoo and where the animals were, and that we had free bathrooms there. So I'm big on toilets. Anyway, we didn't have those problems. Yes, we had at one time, we had a Conestoga wagon where we were selling T-shirts, where we were selling things out of there. And we had special people that ran it. Then they retired, they got older, and they didn't want to be there anymore. So we may need some people that can sell concessions to the people, but I think that the parks did a really good job. And the docents, that's what we called ourselves, we were there and we helped the people and they loved it. A woman is there with 2 kids and she says, I'm waiting for my third one to get out of school. We're just going to go around. Now they don't do that. So I think it's a good idea. And if we have to put more money in, well, then let's have more events at the zoo. Let's bring up the revenue of the zoo, but let's not charge. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, in closing, I'll just say that it is not the intent to just make a decision, go over there and tear down the fence and say, okay, now we have a free zoo and we walk away and it's over with. I promise you that we will do everything in our power, if this passes or not, to make this the best experience we can possibly financially, citywide, make this for our guests that show up to the zoo. And these live TLC, I think we're committed to different ways of reaching those goals, and we will continue to work forward to make it a great experience for our guests that show up.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody from, that's on attending by virtual? Does anybody have any comments? Mr. City Manager, do you have any comments that you would like to?
Yes, thank you. I would like to comment. Before I actually started, Mike and I went out and met our zoo director and spent several hours out at the zoo. And I'll tell you, both from the perspective of city manager and from a resident, long time, this is my home, come from here. The city manager's perspective, we're going through budget right now. And Mike talked about, Mr. Matthews talked about essentially $300,000 in personnel costs to implement this 70-30 policy. Whereas when you net it out, we're in the hole by 200,000. So a negative 200,000 additional burden to the budget beyond where we would have been had we been charging. So logically, that one's easy for me. That's an easy thought process and decision. The resident side and perhaps the more feeling side is I can remember what it used to be. The zoo, the park. I can remember the kids out there. I used to play ball almost every weekend out there. That's where I met up with my buddies. The park was full. The pond was open. I have monitored the history of where we've been and how we've gotten here. So it's not a finger pointing exercise to me, but I think we can do a lot better. And I think we need to take some ownership of that. But we do need some direction to move this thing forward, whichever direction we go. But I think there are some things we could do to get our carousel up, to get our train running, and eventually address the pond. That's a more high dollar issue that we've got to get correct. But we do need some direction. And again, thinking in terms of budget, this is not helping the revenue situation.
Thank you. Any further comments? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we consider, it's the number 3, right?
Number 3.
Consider Resolution 23SX repealing Resolution 1983 and Resolution 2072 to go to full council.
Got a motion. Do we have a second? Councilor Sanchez? Aye. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving item number 3 or sending it to city council, signify by saying aye. 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 Motion carried. The next one is item number 4, consider resolution 23XX, a resolution to approve and restructure increase all rates fees at Nancy Lopez Spring Golf Course. Who's going to take this one?
I got it. So again, we're here again, obviously, for your consideration to approve and restructure all rates and fees at the golf course. Reason is we have not increased these rates from since 2014 to 2015. There are too many different types of memberships. If you have a family, you can come play at this rate. If you don't, you have to pay this rate. So I'm trying to get this thing restructured. We are going to be getting some new golf carts in, Yamaha GPS screens, which we do need to increase the golf cart rates with this GPS. It's going to stop people from driving wherever they can, or they're not supposed to drive. Also helps us with any advertising. We can flash anything on the screen, so therefore we need to go up in that. There are no rates in place at all for the high schools, for leagues, for twilights or anything like that. So we need to get some rates in there for those kinds of things. Like I said, rates have stayed the same since 2015, 2015, and fertilizer has gone up, equipment has gone up, and everything is going up. So income revenue is staying the same, but all of our costs are going up. So here we go, where are we at? All right, types of memberships. We have your single annual, your couple annual, couple with junior, junior weekends, senior weekdays, senior couple weekdays, senior single anytime, senior couple anytime, play as you play, and play as you play couples. One of the things that was brought up was couples must be spouses. Well, we've changed that to couples must live at the same address. Seniors must be 60 or older, junior 17 or younger, or still in high school. So just some little definitions there as we go on. Next. Annual single membership. These people get to play every day, 1 year from the purchase date, obviously. Keep this membership, but let's increase it 5%. And that's what I'm trying to do, is increase all these memberships 5%. So the current is $648. 5% would be $32.40 more, but let's round that up to $681. Annual couples, again, every day, 1 year from purchase date. Keep this membership, but again, 5% increase. So let's go from $809 to $850. Couples with juniors and junior weekends, this is one of those I want to eliminate. With this one, just because your mom and dad play, it shouldn't be cheaper for you to come out and play. Juniors, we want to promote junior golf. And I think it should be one set price for any junior, whether your parents play or they don't play. So this is one that I would like to eliminate and create a new junior membership. Next. Annual junior membership. So any junior 17 younger or still in high school, they can play any day of the week, 1 year from the purchase date. Current prices are, if you came with a couple, if you have a couple, your mom and dad play, it's $135 for you to play. If your mom and dad don't play, then it's going to cost you $360. That's the thing that we're trying to get rid of. Like I say, let's just come up with a $150 and the kids get to play all year long. And whether your parents play or they don't play, $150. Where are we at now? Senior single and senior couple weekdays. Okay, so this one we want to eliminate. Senior weekdays, why can they only play during the weekdays when we don't have different rates for weekends and weekdays? So with this one, we're just pretty much changing it, getting rid of the weekday only and just making it an annual where they can play every single day. So the current price for your seniors right now is $420, and the couples is $580. Like I say, we need to get rid of that and just make it an anytime, which on the next screen we'll see. What we'll do here is take a seniors, we'll do 30% off for the seniors and couples seniors. If you look at the bottom there, 30% off the new price for the senior couples, which we saw over here on those other screens, it would be $477 and senior couples $595.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When this was presented at the Parks and Rec Commission, there was an interesting comment that was made when it concerns couples. And it seems like instead of charging half the price for how can I say this? Instead of splitting the cost of a couple, it seems like we're still charging more for a single individual.
Yeah, so
kind of penalizing them for not being couple.
If you're single, we'll just throw some numbers out there. If you're single, you're paying $500. You're saying if you're a couple, you should pay $1,000 is what you're saying, right?
Well, no, I'm saying that if the price for a couple is $500, And why not make it 250 for a single?
I got you. Same thing. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. So I understand that, but in most facilities and anywhere you go, they do an add-on. So the first person in the door, for instance, I'll use NIMBY as an example. If you go and you get an annual membership, they charge $300 per add-on. So if you have your spouse and another person in the house, it's $300 each add-on. So most places that you go to, they have family memberships. We can start something else that just says a family membership instead of a couple, which is still going to be a little bit less than paying double or triple or quadruple. It's just kind of how it's been in the golf business, memberships forever and ever. But I do see what you're saying. If you're single, why do I got to pay $500 and a couple's only paying $680? I get it, but that's just kind of how it is. Can you imagine having to pay $1,000 just for you and your wife to go play?
Well, if you're asking me directly, no, I'm not there because I'm not a golfer.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it would deter a lot of people. That's why we want to get families out there and everything. That's why they kind of have a couples rate and a family rate. And just like the juniors, I want to get that away to where any junior can come play for 150 instead of if your family plays, it's 150. So, I mean, it's just kind of how it's always been where we go. Unfortunately, it's just, it'd be very expensive, but then it'd be very cheap for just a single. I mean, if we went off the couples, that was 600 and you're going to charge only 300 for a single, just doesn't make sense. We've got to have a set rate and then an add-on rate. So, all right, so we're done with that one. Next, pay as you play. So this is every day of the week, 1 year from date of purchase. So members pay $6 per round. They pay $300 upfront, and anytime they come to play, they pay $6. I would want to increase that 5%, which is going to increase it from $300 to $315.
And $7 per round.
Hmm?
And $7 per round.
No, we're going to keep that to $6. Oh, did we change it over here? Later on in the, I'm sorry. Later on in the fees, I guess we went up $1 to $7. Thank you for catching that. Pay as you play couple, here we go again, 1 year. Just go 5% increase from 420 to 441, $7 per round. Next. Monthly fees. This is every day, 1 month from the purchase date. I want to keep this membership, but add a senior single and a couple to it. Right now, currently, we only have the single and the couple and the junior rate, which I want to add those senior single and senior couple. Right now, the single is $90. I want to increase that to $95. Couples is $120. Let's increase that to $126. Juniors is $42. Increase that to $45. And here comes the add-on for the senior single, make it $75, and senior couple, make it $105.
How do you keep track of their, sorry.
Go ahead.
How do you keep track of, like, if they come in and pay, like on the 15th, do you have like a spreadsheet?
So no, in our POS system, we charge them, and in our POS system, we put an expiration date. So the expiration date, and then we switch their class to a monthly fee. So it knows it's not going to charge them in the computer system until that expiration date, and then it goes back to normal and wants to charge them like a public. All right, next. So this is a big one here, and this is something that we've kind of been working on before, is changing it to a calendar year or fiscal year. Like I said, right now, anybody, like you just said, can come in here, I want to purchase this. I would like to get it on a fiscal year or calendar year to where, hey, your membership ends this date no matter what, and we all know when our date is starting. Right now, we have people come in and say, hey, well, when does mine expire? So we got to go in the computer, look it up. And it was a problem when we did the switch. Right now with our POS system, it's pretty good and pretty accurate. Compared to before with the previous management, it was very hard to figure out when their expiration dates really.
Prorated then?
I would like to prorate it 1 year, yeah. So 1 year, get it prorated, but then once it starts, just keep it to that. There's no more
What if they
prorating.
come in October and pay for a year, but it'll end in July?
So if they came in October, they can purchase a monthly, and then boom, once January starts, then you get on the annual.
Okay.
And the reason this helps us out is because we're able to keep control. If we do go up in prices or we drop prices, whatever it is, it's easy to do January 1st, all prices are going to change and all that stuff. So it's easy to get to a calendar year or fiscal year.
So you're asking for a fiscal year to start in January. instead of July.
We can go calendar year, which would start in January, or go fiscal year, however, whatever makes it easier for us in the city and finance and all that good stuff and accounting, so. Any questions on that?
That makes sense.
All right, now the daily green fees, here we go. So we want to increase these green fees. Our current 18-hole green fee is $19.25. We're going to want to increase that to $20.25. Our 9-hole green fee is $13.25. We want to increase that to $14.25. As you can see, it's just $1 more on each one of those green fees. One green fee that I think we should add is a twilight green fee, which this is in the evenings, obviously, 3 hours before sunset. No, there will no longer be a 9-hole rate at this time, but the twilight green fee would be $15. So you get here at whatever time we say. If it's 5 o'clock, it's free. I mean, whoever's first come, first serve, no tee times at that time. You've got 3 hours to play as many holes as you can in that $15. Some people can get 18 done, kind of gives them a little bit of discount, but at the same time, a lot of people don't get it done. They come in, they play 9 holes and just do it in the evening. So I think that's something we need to add. Most golf courses do have a twilight rate. All right, junior green fees. Here we go again. There's a weekday green fee and a weekend green fee. Why? These kids, there's no other green fees for anybody else. It's not more expensive for a senior to play on the weekends. It's not more expensive, but right now the current rates are junior green fee is $8.50 during the weekdays and $12 on weekends. Why are we making it more expensive for them on weekends? So I think we just need to charge $8.50 for juniors, and that's any day of the week. Next, special green fees. We need to keep these fees, but increase them $1. So right now we have seniors, which is on Wednesdays. It's $12. Ladies' Day is on Thursdays, which is $12. And then we have a city championship fee in there that's $12. I just want to increase those $1, just like our green fees, to $13. Next one. Tournament green fees, here we go. So as you guys know, we don't have a whole lot of golf tournaments going on there, and some of you do, some of you don't. A lot of the golf tournaments went to NIMI. Well, we need to get these tournaments back. We just hosted a big one. It was the Roswell Honda Classic. Great event, but we've got to be able to give them a special price. We can't charge them the $35 per person and expect them to come to our course over somebody else who's giving them a special rate. So in this $25, you can see there, it's going to include green fee, cart fee, range balls, event setup, and scoring. The breakdown, $12 is going to go to green fee, $11 will be cart fee, and $2 will be range balls. So this will help with any fundraisers. Like I said, we're trying to make money for the community and everything else. A lot of these fundraisers are nonprofit organizations. That's our charities and stuff like that. So if we can start giving them a rate, a good package, then hopefully we can bring more tournaments in. All right. Next one. High school fees. These don't even exist right now. They were paying the previous manager. I don't know how it was going or what, but I spoke with the coaches and supposedly they were paying $1,500 per team. So I'm keeping it at that, but I suggest we do it $750 for membership / green fees and $750 for range balls. At the same time, we need to be able to limit the players to 15 players per team. Right now, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, it's great for the junior golf and all that stuff, but we have, 80 kids out there at one time. Our public is getting very upset. They're not able to hit range balls. So it's something that I'm going to work on them next year also to kind of communicate to where one team goes, maybe to NIMI one day and one team goes here. But they are upsetting the public big time with that. But at the same time, I'm a big fan of junior golf and high school golf. It's just changed to where there's a lot more JV events compared to previously. It was pretty much just varsity. So I do want to kind of just limit that. But the thing I want to change here is I want to keep those kids playing all year round. Right now, they play just during golf season. Some of them can't afford to play all year round. Some of them have other sports. I get it. But I would like to see them play all year round, get the free golf, get the hit range balls. But they must also help us with junior camps if we need them, or clean pick days or anything like that. With that spot, though, during the off seasons, I would like to limit those ones to 5 per team. And the way we would do that is we'd give them a card saying, hey, we're on the team. And they come in and show us their card and they can play golf and hit range balls. So next, cart fees. Again, we're getting the new Yamaha carts, hopefully by June 30th. They're going to have GPS screens installed. So on this GPS, it's going to give you a yardage, front, middle, back, with this GPS, it's going to shut off when you go in a restricted area. This is going to help us big time with marshaling and the people that are driving too close to the greens, too close to the tee boxes or wherever they're not supposed to be driving. It will shut off for about a minute and then it'll turn back on and let them get out of that spot. With this will help with any advertising, anything that we have going on. We can flash a message up on the screens, advertising, and we can tell, hey, you're too slow, please pick up the pace or whatever it is with that. So this thing is going to cost us a little bit more after I did all the math and everything. It's about $1.50 per cart rental, going off of last year's. So I'm trying to increase those cart fees from $14 for 18 holes to $15.50 and $8.50 to $10 for 9 holes. So next.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got about 5 minutes before we lose a quorum.
Okay. I can, done, I promise.
Rock and roll, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, you guys have been through it already once and I've got to go through it, but.
I apologize, but.
You're good.
Culverson has to leave at 5:30. So.
Okay.
Are there any other changes since the last time we were here?
Yeah, is there any other changes from last time we were here? You guys have already heard it once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I apologize to the public as well, because I would have asked for input, but we want to at least get this one done.
With you.
And we'll have the next one.
Real quick.
Next one is real quick. It's us and that one's a quick one.
Okay, we can do it. If you can do it real quick,
Yeah.
it's up to you.
Well, let's take item number 4 and let's address that one and get it over and done with, and then we'll go to the next one and see.
Okay.
where we can go.
Oh, you want me to make the motion or I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we consider approval of award recommendation for ITB. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Okay, sorry. I make a motion to consider approval of resolution 23XX to restructure and increase all rates at Nancy Lopez Golf Course at Spring River Equal Council.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Councilor Sanchez. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to item number 5, if we can get it within a time limit.
We'll consider approval of award recommendation to ITB 23-022 golf cart purchase and authorization for city managers to enter into a contract with Classic Rocky Mountain Golf Cars for the purchase of 55 Yamaha golf carts and a ball picker. Which we've been doing, it's in our budget and approved. We had to do an invitation to bid and that's all been taken care of. So just need permission for the city manager to put John Henry on it.
Is there any discussion among the committee? Any questions? I know I reviewed it before coming, so I'm full aware of what it, and if there's not, again, I apologize to the public, but if we can take care of it at this meeting, I would like to go ahead and take care of it, so.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we consider approval of award recommendation for ITB 23022 golf cart purchase and authorization for city manager to enter into contract with Masick Rocky Mountain Golf Cars for the purchase of 55 2023 Yamaha Drive to VTEC, is that how you say it?
Quiet Tech.
Quiet Tech. Oh, I guess, yeah, hello.
So we have a,
Quiet Tech EFI golf carts and one 2023 Yamaha UMAX Ranger pickup.
so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Councilor Sanchez. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm sorry, everyone, but.
Are they going to full?
Yeah,
Yeah,
full
full
council. I
Yes.
apologize.
I just.
And so with that, we went through the action items. I know there was an individual that I invited to come and speak on the skate park. I don't know whether that individual is here or not. And it's just an informational item anyway. Okay.
Oh, we can speak this. Or do you want to speak about it?
Well, whoever wants to speak, I'm not sure who can, if you can identify yourself for the record.
Oh, okay, my name's Tori Hornick. I'm one of the many parents from the skate park.
And we've been going out there for the past 3 years with all of our children, and we've noticed a significant lack of just love for the skate park from the city. And so we would just like to start adding on to it possibly and adding another light structure, because you have the aquatic center, which is 100% lit up after 6 p.m. The skate park only has one light, which only lights up half the park, which is actually quite dangerous, and kids do fall and get injured, which I had a few people bring that up to me yesterday. And I definitely think that should be a really important goal, to at least get another light fixture at least started over there, and then possibly some future events, and then, you know, expanding it possibly in the future is what we want to discuss.
And I know that on your emails, and I think you sent the email to all the board, I mean, all the city council, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned the fact of addressing it as part of tourism.
Yes, because we have a lot of people that do come into the skate park, and we've actually had in the past year alone, not like we had two professional skateboarders actually stop in the city, not like Tony Hawk professional, but they were still named professional skateboarders. And I think that would be, we're lacking on that end, because we could be bringing a lot more people out there, especially if we like add something with UFO out there or something that, you know, the alien tourism, it would bring so much more people out there.
Jim, did you want to address that?
Well, we did meet with this group this week, and we're going to set some meetings tomorrow, what, 9:30, 10, I don't remember. We set a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to walk the grounds with them, see what kind of repairs they want to talk about. They're going to give us an idea of what kind of events they want to have by quarter, and we'll come through with all that. We had some of the councilors there yesterday, and we sat down and talked. So we'll take care of it. And as far as lights go, there was some transformers that blew up out there. Those belong to Excel Energy. They're only running 2 legs up of 3. So, you know, they're working on getting the lights fixed.
Okay, so you have addressed it.
Yep, they have my information, and we'll take care of it. It'll be fun.
Any questions you would like to ask, or?
I would like to throw in something. My name is Geneva Martinez. I am on Parks and Rec Commissioner Board, Center Law and Poverty, I'm a professional roller skater, but I'm also a mom, and I utilize the skate park. Looking at other communities, not just Albuquerque, but Alamogordo and Carlsbad, the way their skate park is, they have their community center, their youth center, the skate park, and they also have a street hockey for leagues to come in to play street hockey. That will also bring in tourism. They also do utilize that for roller derby, which when Roswell Roller Derby was up, we were bringing in people from all over West Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado. And it is just concrete. And also adding a pump track is dirt and some cement or gravel. The skate park, like she said, hasn't had very much love. It actually was built, I think, over 25 years ago. And the skate park does have a reputation in the skate community, and it's not a reputation that we really want. If you look at it from an aerial view, it looks like an anatomy of a man's private area. It's known for it too. And there hasn't been an addition to, it really does. It really does. And there hasn't, I don't know who engineered it, but
Really?
It hasn't had any add-ons of any equipment, any new rails, any new ramps. And I think it is an important part of our community. No, it's not baseball fields. No, it's not softball fields, but it's also a part where underprivileged and high-risk youth utilize. And by having more parents out there with their eyes on it, I think is a wonderful thing. And I'm glad that this has been brought up and that it made the agenda for non-action. And I hope to see it at the Parks and Rec Commissioner Board meeting next month.
we need to swing by, because you just said a couple of things that, street hockey, which I'm familiar with, but I got a huge parking lot and a street sweeper and cones. So, if we're gonna do that or any of that kind of stuff, find me, let's walk.
Yeah, let's do
'Cause
it.
I have obviously I got a brand new lit parking lot right there, because you got the all-inclusive playground, parking lot, skate park. So we're gonna try to tie that together with some green space also.
It's
So
the best
this could be
place to
fun.
Add on, I mean, this is really where the inclusive park is coming on, the trail, expanding that area to where it's family friendly.
And I agree, anything that we can do, especially for the kids to be occupied, be off the streets, the kind of thing, it would be helpful. The problem that from our side is the money,
Right.
like always, but since you're already in contact with Jim, then I'm sure, and then with Juanita concerning the tourist portion of it, then perhaps we can be able to do something. And you said the meeting is what time tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I don't remember.
9:30. Yeah.
At the skate?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have equipment, dirt, cement, street sweepers, cones. I mean, we can figure out something.
We talked about the dump track before a little bit, the last
You're
one.
gonna have to explain it to me.
I even actually have pictures too for tomorrow.
Good, pictures are good.
Yeah.
So,
I thank you all for coming and sharing your interest and concern, call it a concern.
Yeah, no, well, of course, we just want to at least do our part as parents, and come down
Absolutely.
here and at least, show that we are trying to make it not, a bad place, because unfortunately it has that stigma, but the stigma is brought on by kids that don't actually hang out there. They come out there one time and they destroy it and they ruin it for everybody else. And that was the thing too, that even since I've told them I talked to you, they're like, once they do put new things out here, can we have like a sign with a phone number? So if kids are out there damaging, they actually were asking like, can we call? And I was shocked because I was like, that's a smart idea. I'm like, we should have something out there. So if they do start to damage it, they can call without letting anybody know, like, hey, there's this kid out here, besides the police, because they're not, some people are scared.
No, you can call Jim.
Yeah, so that's what I was like, and that's what we all.
call the police or Jim. It is
Yeah.
one or the other.
If we can go to the last part of our agenda reports, any director want to give a report? I mean, like I said, I don't know about the rest of the committee members, but I know I read the reports. So,
We appreciate that because they spend a lot of time on them.
yep, absolutely.
So with ASEAN, we're really deep into larger projects right now. We have still classes going on, lots of planetarium shows, tons of field trips. Always March, April is like our time of year for field trips from the school, so it's super busy. But we're deep into the renovation process right now, trying to finalize our scope of work before we go out to bid for the flooring as well as exterior signage. And I think next month I can give you kind of an overview of what all those specific plans are. Let's see what else. And then we're also preparing for reaccreditation, which is kind of a 1.5 year long process. So right now I'm updating an emergency plan for us for preparedness as well as response afterwards. So it's just been, super busy, big projects, but all good things.
Thank you.
So,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Colette Hall, Recreation Director. So just a quick update on the pool. Oh, hey. Sorry, I had to help you. Quick update on the pool. I don't really have a good update. I know that we're supposed to start the remediation of the mold. We're supposed to start that this week, but they were waiting on materials. So it has been awarded. Custom Construction will be doing the remediation. Now we're just waiting for it all to come on site.
And the splash pads are supposed to be open
May 1.
May 1st, right?
Splash pads are, yes, they're ready to go. They have been, we have the state out, they've been inspected, they're ready to go.
Good.
Thank you.
The roof is done.
Okay, thank God.
It got finished yesterday, and beyond that, you guys get my weekly memos, so do you have any questions?
Got anything?
all-inclusive playground is coming out of the grounds looking good. The one down south, the dirt work's pretty much done. Cement's put around it. I was there the other day, parking lot's done. So we're getting closer to that and being ready also. So that's about it. Take care of business.
Okay.
Coming in. And I guess we can talk about columbariums, all that kind of stuff, but we're just taking care of business.
John, you got any additional? Add?
Visitor center.
Oh, the update as far as parties, and tours and everything that we've canceled probably about 5, 6 tours, school tours coming in to tour because we don't have the staff to do it. A lot of it was gonna be guided tours. Well, guided tours, that's why, because we need this, we don't have guest services to provide this. So we've lost probably about $3,000 in revenue on that just for me. Parties we've canceled because we don't have guest services to help with the parties. So we've lost probably a total of, what is it, $3,000, $4,000 so far in May just for revenues. And that's not including, March, April, April. And then next month, we're probably gonna lose about the same, if not more.
Some of that has to do with our educator taking a new job. So we offered a position, but someone rescinded it. We have a second candidate that we're trying to push through so we can have somebody on board for spring break, or not spring break, summer camps and whatnot. We do have our carousel is actually up and running. We have new chariots that are upholstered. The old chariots got redone, installed, and they're upholstered. It's just, once again, someone to run it is our challenge. USDA Clean Bill of Health in March. The add-on is we had over 60 runners for our Kids Stampede. To let you know, we had about 15 last year. So we quadrupled our attendance on that one. So those are the big, Bobcats are out, new Raven going, and those are the big stuff.
I know you two, I think, are with the Parks and Rec.
Yes.
You wanna share anything?
No.
We have volunteer things in for.
I'm having a great time at the adult center. There's new programming that went in spring. Lapidary has made that class, roller skating class for adults, which is, the last class was 24 adults, and this time it's 20 adults. We've had twice as much of calls asking for children classes, but the adult center doesn't allow youth there. So if there was a space for youth classes, I think that would be great for our community too.
Well, maybe we can partner up with the Russell Boys and Girls Club.
We
With
once
those kind
did
of-
one at the Boys and Girls Club. We were told after they got their new gym floor in that probably not for Astington years. So we don't have a roller rink either. So it's just concrete. You can do a lot for the community.
The $150 for juniors still seems like an awful lot. When we were talking about the zoo charging $5 and that was a lot. Golf is one of the few lifetime sports, and I don't know for your junior memberships, you know, the financial background of the parents, but $150 to me sounds like an awful lot. I don't know what the alternative is though. To lower it or to have certain times, I don't know what the answer is, but $150 just seems, and I know it's, you know, you can say industry standard but you know, we're trying to, golf is a lifetime sport. And I know you're trying to get more junior golfers and stuff, and you can introduce them to the game. But even with the preschool program and having a lot of kids out there, you know, the school district would, all of them get together and have the JV tournaments
in February and March, in the beginning of April, you can have 80 kids out there because you're not gonna have a lot of play. And if, most of the kids coming out have never played golf too. It's not like, it's not like Little League Baseball where they start when they're 6 and by the time they get to high school, they've had tremendous experience. But we've got to figure something out to keep the kids involved, hanging out at the golf course where there's supervision.
And I apologize to both of you for not having that discussion because of
The time of
the issue, but there's a good thing though. It's going up to council and we can have that discussion at council if you would like to come and share those thoughts as well.
And I'm with you about making it cheap 100%. I mean, really, I'm knocking it down from 3 something to 150 is what I'm doing. I mean, except for the ones who have parents. Their parents play, they get to play for 135. But my biggest thing, like you just said, is there's supervision, there's all that stuff. I've been in many golf courses in my lifetime where it becomes a daycare. And that's what we don't want, is a daycare. They just drop the kids off and these kids go around, they're running around, they're screwing around, and there's nothing there to. High school golf, unfortunately, is not what it used to be back then. So right now, if you have a driver's license and you can drive a bus and you're already a coach, they'll put you as a golf coach, which isn't the way it used to be back in the day. You've got to know something about golf. So right now, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, the high school golf coaches nowadays, the kids are running around already. So you have 80 high school kids just running around and there's nothing there as far as them even knowing the etiquette or rules of golf right now.
But I think that's something for the golf course because Spring River is the home of the golf course for Goddard and Roswell. That's something for you to address with the athletic director maybe.
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, I've done it many times. In fact, I tried to become a coach and I got turned down because I didn't have all the certificates that the football coach had. So it was a bad deal, a bad experience for me at that time, so.
But there was a time though.
Yeah.
Coach, just because they would play golf while the kids played golf.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Just like to get this moved through council, and if there's an impact on the children, we'll take care of it. There's scholarships. He gives lessons. We can open up communications. We already have with coaches. And, maybe it's a prerequisite that you take an adequate class and A, B, C, and D. And then, so we need to be part of the education then. What I just heard, if it's not happening in the schools, then it'll happen in the golf course. And so I agree with everyone here, but I just want to move forward with increases in price. If there is an impact, then we can address that one item. I don't want to stop the whole thing because of this, but you know me, we take care of business and we'll take care of the kids.
And again, we still have the opportunity to address this.
Oh, yeah, council.
And I'm sure there'll be more questions than I can come up with. Do we have anybody online that would like to make any comments?
Stop asking, Mama. I just cringe.
Seems like we don't, and
okay.
Yeah, we have copies of the summer guide. And they're here if anybody wants to take them. So you're free to take any, and it's many, right? I don't want to mispick. So anything else before we adjourn? And if there's no, well, I guess there can't be any objection because we don't have a quorum.
And I want to say.
So this meeting is adjourned, and if
There, you have one comment, sorry.
okay, we have a comment from Bruce Endler. I'm still deeply disappointed in the removal of the free golf for city employees. A simple, quick addendum to the union contract removes conflict with the anti-donation clause. no cost to the city while even increasing revenue when the employee brings friends and family to the golf course. Do you want to address that?
I have.
And he did come to our commission.
He came to our meeting and, you know, and that's, I don't have the authority there for those decisions. So, you know, at that point, I would like to say that we will do whatever the council tells us to.
Okay. We thank Mr. Bruce Adler for his comments. Anybody else? Thank you, Jim. And did you note the time that the
Yes.
quorum was?
At 5:29.
So that's the time of, at least for the agenda action items anyway.
Okay.
And as far as the meeting is concerned, it is adjourned at 5:50.